Let's see, now practice problems. Let's talk about practice problems. Unless I assign practice problems, I don't expect you to actually do them, at least in writing. What I want you to be is mature about the practice problems. So you're going to look at them, and it says, what is the difference between a physical and chemical property? You know, if you can recall that after studying the text here, you don't really have to write it down. I just want you to be able to do that, okay? What is density? Again, that's from physical science. You should know what it is. How is the density of a substance determined? Well, from physical science, you probably already know. Or if you don't, hopefully when you read this, you will remember that density is mass divided by volume. Okay, and that's how it's determined. You take the mass and divide it by the volume. Explain why density is a chemical or physical property. Okay, and that's in this section. If you don't remember, then now you need to go back and just kind of look and see, well, where was that? Okay, and when you find that, you can explain that. But let's say you read that and you really didn't get it. Well, that's when you write the question out on the side here. And the first thing in class the next day is, Mr. Ted, I got a question about last night's stuff, the last night's annotations, the last night's section. Okay? And then we go over it. Okay? So what we want to do is to help you to learn to study more effectively. And it's going to be cumbersome at first, again. But as we go through these things, as we spend more time with it, you will get better and better at this, and it'll go faster and faster. What students tell me is, and I continually ask this, well, I shouldn't say continually, I guess, but periodically ask this through the semester, how long are you spending on it? I may ask individual students that. And I'm getting about, they're spending, if they're annotating a section, they're usually spending sometimes 20 minutes and sometimes 45 minutes, but on the average around 30 minutes. And the goal is that we don't have you doing more than 45 minutes of work in a night. Now, let's say you didn't do last night's work. You had a soccer game or something, and you came in the next day, Mr. Tedder, I had a soccer game. Can I get caught up tomorrow? And I'll work with you on that. Okay, you can't really make that an everyday thing, but I'm not here to try to make this overly overwhelming for you. I'm here to make it work for you so that you learn really good study skills. Okay? All right. So if you have any questions, we start this tonight. You're going to get a couple nights to finish this first section. It's 23 pages, I think I gave you. But see, we've already gone through the first 9 pages here. Okay? In fact, let's take a second and look here at some of the annotations you're supposed to do. Okay? So we're circling headings and subheadings. And I'm already over here on page 9. Well, here is a heading or subheading. Okay? Right there. Let's go ahead and circle that. Okay? Here is a key thing to know. This is one of those key content vocabulary words. All right? And it says we're supposed to put a box around that. So let's put a box around where it says physical properties here. Go ahead and do that. Okay? And chemical properties are going to be in that category too, while we're right there. Let's see here. Okay. Then definitions. Well, it turns out that this box actually defines a physical property for us. So when you read that, you see the first half there is actually a definition. Physical properties. A physical property is observed with your senses, measured directly or calculated directly, and can be determined without destroying or fundamentally changing the substance. So let's see. Observed with your senses. We're going to underline that because that's part of the definition. Measured directly, calculated without fundamentally. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Calculated directly, and can be determined without destroying or fundamentally changing the substance. And the rest of this are examples to give you some ideas. So physical properties include color, shape, odor, mass, length, density, and it even tells you that mass is measured and length is measured, shape is observed, and so forth. Okay, and so you do the same thing down here with the chemical properties. Okay? All right, let's see what else. You got to write EQ next to equations. Well, there really aren't any equations in Unit 1. I just kind of stuck this one in here to let you see what an equation looks like. Usually an equation is going to have variables, and if you remember from your math classes, x's and y's are variables. Well, in the sciences, you start getting to other variables. You remember r. R is not really a variable, and pi is not, well, it is a variable because it's a radius, but pi is not a variable. That's a known number. So this is a variable, this is a variable. So that makes that an equation. Okay, so I'm going to put EQ right here to the side, just to remind me, hey, there's an equation there I need to remember to go back and look at when I get ready to study for the test. Okay, All right, back to our list over here. Underline key steps to solving problem solving. Well, there aren't any key steps to problem solving in this section. So let's skip a little bit and find someplace maybe in here where there's some key steps to problem solving. Well, here's some problems here. And this is all about finding insignificant digits. And so let's see. Well, this is a rule, but it's also the key way you set up solving this problem. So we can go ahead and underline this. This just says when you're doing addition and subtraction, when aligned vertically and without extra zeros, any digits to the far right in the answer determined by adding or subtracting to or from an empty space in the column are considered insignificant and you should round it off. And so this explains what that all means. So when you read that, you might not, wow, that's a pretty complex sentence. But as you read the rest of it down here, it should make that make sense. And the idea then, after you've got this underlined, is when you go back and study, you're getting ready for the test, you're going to remember when you read this, oh yeah, it applies to all this stuff. So that's your sort of headline to remind you of how this process works of finding your insignificant digits, underlining and rounding off. And we'll practice that in class, okay? Those are the kind of things we're going to spend more time on in class. So by not spending as much time remembering the definition of quantitative observations, you can sort of read the definition here and get a reasonable understanding of it from the text here. We spend a little less time with that, taking notes on what a quantitative observation is because you've got it here already, you've underlined it, you've studied it. And we'll spend more time doing the kind of things that are kind of new, things that are more problem-solving kind of things that we need to spend more time on so you get a really good grasp of things. All right, any questions? All right, well, I hope you got a good idea of what to do now with the annotations every unit. We've pretty much gone through the first 9 pages here. I mean, we've skipped a few things. You probably need to go back and see that you've got your definitions and main things, boxes around the vocabulary and underlining the definitions. All right, good job.